Sugar, the sweetest delight to ever exist, was once a treasure so rare that only kings and queens could afford it, calling it white gold. Believe it or not, sugar was even used as medicine to treat headaches. And during World War II, cakes were baked with mashed potatoes just to save the precious sugar for the soldiers. Crazy, right? But what made sugar so precious? What magic goes into turning grass into glittering crystals? Let's find out. Where does sugar come from? Well, sugar doesn't magically appear in your candy bars or soda cans. It all starts with two humble heroes of the plant world, sugarcane and sugar beets. About 70% of the world's sugar comes from sugarcane. This plant is basically a tall, leafy grass that thrives in hot tropical climates like Brazil, India, Thailand. It loves sunshine, warm air, and plenty of rain. Sugarcane doesn't play small either. When it grows, it really grows. A single stalk can shoot up over 20 feet tall. Yes, that's taller than your favorite NBA star. Sugarcane fields look like mini jungles swaying in the wind. Beneath all those green blades is where the magic happens. The juicy stalks are absolutely packed with natural sugars. And the crazier part is that it's all stored in its fibers, not in the leaves or roots like most other plants. Now let's talk about the underrated sugar sibling, the sugar beet. Sugar beets might not look as glamorous as sugarcane. They're root vegetables and are grown mostly in cooler regions like Europe, the US, and parts of Russia. These little white, chunky guys live underground and quietly store loads of sugar in their thick, starchy bodies. While sugarcane gets all the attention, 30% of the world's sugar actually comes from sugar beets. Farmers love them because they grow fast, they're more climate-friendly, and they don't need to be replanted every year. Plus, sugar beets can survive frost, something sugarcane could never dream of. These two plants are just the beginning. What happens after they're harvested is where the real sugar magic begins. But before that, let's have a look on how all of this even started. Brief, juicy history of sugar has a past, and it's juicier than you'd think. Back in the caveman days, sweet foods like fruits meant energy and survival. So, over time, our brains evolved to crave anything sugary. It's like a built-in reward system. Eat sugar, get a burst of dopamine, feel good, rinse and repeat. Why back, like 8000 BC, in ancient India, farmers were already growing sugarcane. These legends figured out how to squeeze out its sweet juice and dry it into crystals. The Sanskrit word for it was shakara, which literally meant gritty or gravel. India was basically the original sugar factory of the world. And in medieval Europe, doctors believed it could treat colds, stomach aches, and even sadness. From sacred Sanskrit texts to medicine cabinets to royal banquet tables, sugar has been everywhere. Its journey through history has been sweet, sparkly, and at times shockingly sour. But how exactly do we make sugar today? And how do you turn that into those shiny, sparkly crystals we sprinkle on pancakes? The sugar manufacturing step 1. Harvesting. In many parts of the world, sugarcane is still cut by hand with machetes. Workers slice down the tall, leafy stalks with insane skill. In more industrialized farms, giant machines do the heavy lifting, chopping and loading cane like sugar-hungry transformers. Sugar beets, on the other hand, get pulled out of the ground using beet harvesters. Way less dramatic, but still cool. Step 2. Extraction. Once harvested, the plants head to the mill. Sugarcane is fed into massive crushers that squeeze out all the juice from the fibrous stalks. It's loud, wet, and sticky, and it smells like candy dreams. Sugar beets get washed and thinly sliced, almost like making veggie chips. Then, they're soaked in hot water to draw out the sugary juice. Now, we've got juice, but it's still pretty dirty. Step 3. Clarification. Next, the juice is mixed with lime, the mineral, not the fruit, and heated to remove impurities. Dirt, fiber, and unwanted stuff rise or settle out. What's left with us is the golden, syrupy liquid that's ready for its glow-up. Step 4. Evaporation. The syrup goes through a series of evaporators, where it's boiled to remove excess water. Slowly, the juice thickens into a rich, sugary syrup, thick enough to drizzle, but not quite crystal yet. This is where things start to sparkle. Step 5. Crystallization. Next, the syrup is seeded with tiny sugar crystals. These seeds grow into larger crystals as the syrup cools. It's all very precise. Temperature, timing, and technique are everything. One wrong move and you get sludge instead of sparkles. Step 6. Centrifugation. Now it's time to separate the sugar from the sticky leftover syrup called molasses. Then comes the centrifuge, a giant spinning machine. It spins so fast that the crystals fling outward while the molasses drains away. This results in pure, beautiful, raw sugar. Step 7. Drying and packaging. The raw sugar crystals are dried with warm air, then packaged or sent off for further refining. At this point, the sugar is ready for cookies, coffee, or a sugar high of your choice. Wait, what about the difference? Good catch! While sugarcane and sugar beet go through a similar process, there are slight differences. Beet sugar usually doesn't need charcoal for whitening, unlike cane sugar, and it's sometimes processed in a single location. Cane sugar often travels between mills and refineries. Refining and types of sugar. Alright, so we've got our raw sugar crystals. Now it's time to refine the raw stuff into all the sweet varieties we find on store shelves. Raw sugar is kind of like sugar in its natural pajamas. It's golden, slightly sticky, and still has some molasses clinging on. To turn it into the sparkling white sugar we all know, it goes through refining, a process that removes any remaining molasses, color, and impurities. White sugar, as known as table sugar, is refined, pure, sweet, and ready to mix into literally anything, while brown sugar is actually just white sugar with molasses added back in. Light brown has less molasses, dark brown has more. It's what gives cookies that soft, chewy vibe. Then there's turbinado sugar, raw-ish, golden crystals with a mild molasses flavor. It's less processed, but still not totally raw. And muscovado? That's the deep, dark, mysterious sugar. It's unrefined, sticky, and packed with molasses. Powdered sugar, also called icing sugar, is just regular sugar that's been blended into a fine powder with a bit of cornstarch tossed in to stop clumps. Global sugar trade sugar is a global business giant. Behind those sweet little crystals is a massive, multi-billion-dollar industry that stretches across continents. Brazil wears the crown as the world's top sugar producer, followed closely by India, where sugarcane farming is practically a tradition. China, Thailand, and the United States round out the sugar-producing dream team. Together, they supply the majority of the world's sugar demand. But sugar prices don't stay sweet forever. Like any global commodity, sugar prices fluctuate based on weather, harvest size, fuel costs, labor issues, and even government policies. Trade also depends on politics. Some countries heavily subsidize sugar farmers, while others slap import tariffs to protect local production. It's a sugary game of strategy, economics, and sometimes drama. Back in the 1700s, sugar was so insanely valuable that stealing it could get you executed in certain countries. Imagine getting the death penalty for swiping a spoonful of sweetener. So, what does the future of sugar look like? Well, it's not all white and crystal anymore. With health-conscious vibes on the rise, sugar alternatives are stealing the spotlight. Natural sweeteners like stevia and monk fruit offer sweetness without the sugar crash. Then there are synthetic sugars like sucralose and aspartame, made in labs to be hundreds of times sweeter than the real deal. But it's not just about health, it's also about helping the planet. New eco-friendly sugar production methods are rolling in. Think less water, cleaner energy, and zero-waste processing. Some startups are even making sugar in bioreactors, like sugar brewed in a high-tech tank. But what do you think? Let us know in the comments. And hey, summer's here, and mangoes might be on your mind, but ever wondered how they're harvested? Go check that out next.